The anime tells about Shibata Genzo, a professional wrestler. In a stadium, the host announces the match for the World Championship title between Animal Max and Macadamian Ogre, also known as Mao, will start soon. Genzo is preparing for the fight in his room and hopes to win to complete the first chapter of his life, and then start the second chapter. His manager Big Saigo enters, but Genzo asks him to not interrupt him. Big Saigo asks what he will do after reaching this height of becoming the champion and is guessing he will move to other fighting sports. Genzo continues his monologue and says that his second chapter will be about he living with the animals he loves and opening a pet shop, and then heads towards the ring. On the ring, he starts fighting Mao and eventually gets on the top rope. As he jumps, along with his pet Haruki, he disappears and gets teleported to a different time and place. There, he wonders if this is a trick from Big Saigo, but meets Princess Altena Elgard Radis, who refers to him as hero and asks him to help them defeat the evil beast and the demon king. Hearing that, he gets behind her, grabs her, and does a suplex, knocking her out. The guards turn against him. He realizes he may have gone too far and covers the princess with his cape, but that annoys the guards even more and he is forced to escape from them. Walking in town, he wants to ask where he is, but people run away from him. He realizes it must be due to wearing a mask and he removes it, but the crowd starts calling him a pervert as he only wears his boxers. As he walks around, he still isn't able to figure anything and tells Haruki he will find him food for the night. He gets approached by Misha and Wolfgang, who intend to sell Haruki. As Genzo sees Misha, he gets excited that she has animal ears, but then sees Wolfgang and gets even more excited. Seeing his scary, excited face, they try to leave, but Genzo tackles Wolfgang and starts rubbing his face in his chest and sniffing it. They aren't able to remove him from Wolfgang, and as he keeps rubbing and scratching his chest, felt so good that was defeated. Genzo then turns towards Misha, but in that moment hears a girl crying and not wanting to be sold, but is willing if they are going to feed her. As he looks, he sees she has wolf ears and gets really excited. He faces Edgar, the one who is about to sell Shigure, and Misha warns him that Genzo is a pervert. Genzo explains he isn't a pervert and that he is just a man who loves animals. Not knowing Edgar's intention of bringing Shigure, he thinks Edgar is a bad person for making the wolf girl cry. Genzo goes to Edgar and slams him. Misha and Wolfgang help him get up and start leaving. Seeing her go, Genzo realizes he didn't pet Misha and heads her way. But as Shigure thanks him, he stops and goes to talk to her. He thinks she is going to be sold as a slave, but Shigure explains it is due to her borrowing money from him and not returning it, and she made an agreement with him to sell her if she doesn't return the money. Shigure takes Genzo to a hunter guild so they can make some money. As he meets the master of the guild, Genzo explains how much he loves animals. The master wonders what to do, but then receives news of Cerberuses attacking, and hearing that, Genzo gets excited and goes to see them. As they reach the Cerberuses, Genzo sees their 3 heads and gets happy. He then charges them and pins him. He starts playing with them and manages to tame them. 2 guild members are shocked to see Genzo, who managed to master the beast empty-handed. Back at the guild, they receive a good reward for the Cerberuses. Shigure then uses the money to buy him clothes and pay the rent for their inn. As Shigure asks him what he will do, Genzo tells her that he wants to make people understand how good the demon beasts are and that they can understand each other. Genzo goes on to explain how he will make everyone befriend demon beasts. However, he hears people around him complaining about the monster's attack and intends to take revenge. Genzo says he will open a pet shop, although Shigure thinks it is a good idea. She actually doesn't know what he means. Genzo explains that he will raise the demon beasts and train them so they can live with humans. Shigure is a bit skeptical, but hearing that he will be taking on quests related to beasts to receive the reward, she gets interested and decides to help him. Genzo is wondering what quest to take on and sees a book that contains beast information. A fellow member explains that the book contains information about demon beasts and how to defeat them, and says that Genzo won't need the information because of his action of defeating Cerberuses the other day, and he earns the nickname Demon Beast Killer. Genzo gets angry and punches him, as he is an animal wrestler, not a beast killer.
賞金が一番高いのはどれだ？魔獣の生態がかかる。今私のことを大番になってるぜ。これは？そりゃ魔獣殺し。
Since Genzo needs money quickly to get a pet shop, they choose the biggest reward quest of defeating a salamander. Keijiru, the guild's strongest man, offers to join his party and they could split the reward as they kill the salamander. Hearing that, Genzo grabs him and slams him into the wall, telling him to never say something stupid like that again. Before going out, Shigure sees Keijiru's sword on the ground and pretends that someone must have forgotten it and it's now hers. Genzo and Shigure go for the salamander, and he quickly makes friends with him, calling him Yoshiko. He returns to the guild while carrying Yoshiko to claim the reward, and the guy at the desk, seeing him finish the quest, comments it wasn't for nothing that he was called Demon Beast Killer, but gets quickly punched by Genzo, telling him to not call him that. Elsewhere, Misha wants to go out and do something bad, but Wolfgang, remembering what Genzo did to him, decides it will be better for them to stay inside. At that moment, Genzo and Shigure enter, scaring Wolfgang. Shigure wants to meet Edgar to pay her debt, but since he is away, she leaves the monthly pay to Misha. At a castle, Hanako is looking at a magazine and the deserts it is featured. She is then called for dinner where she is annoyed the meal is again goblin, troll, and orc meat as she wants to eat some more delicious food. The next day, Genzo and Shigure head to the forest to complete a quest to conquer some soldier monkeys. As they meet them, Genzo manages to tame them with some apples. As he has already gathered lots of demon beasts, Genzo thinks of finding a safe place for them so that they won't be stolen. They then go to take on a new quest, and the highest paying one is about orcs. Seeing they are not animals, Genzo isn't excited, but since they are paid a lot, he agrees to do it. On the way, they encounter a unicorn, which Genzo names Mommy. As they almost reach the orcs' village, Genzo tells Shigure to wait outside the village and decides to face them alone. Entering their village, he challenges the Orc King and dropkicks him from the start. Even though he is hit several times, Genzo is not injured in the slightest. He uses his wrestling skills and manages to defeat the Orc King. As the king is defeated, the other orcs announce him as the new king. On the next morning, he shakes hands with the Orc King, admits his prowess, and leaves the Orc King in charge. He goes on to tell the orcs to stay loyal to the king. Genzo and Shigure return to the guild and get enough money to buy a place to live. However, as he wants to run a business, he goes to get a loan from the government, but is shocked to learn that he needs to have 20 of the sum. In the meantime, Hanako has escaped her castle and is now drooling on a candy shop window. Genzo and Shigure now have a house, but it is full of cases and animals. She complains they don't have any more room, but Genzo tells her that's the sacrifice they need to make until the animals find their new master who will treat them. Since it is expensive to pay for all of the food, Shigure goes to sell some swords and look at the quest board for some high-paying quests. Genzo hears Hiroyuki barking, and as he checks in the bushes, he finds a girl, Hanako, passed out due to hunger. As she wakes up, she wonders where she is, and Genzo offers her some fish. She is surprised he isn't scared of her horns and introduces herself and says that she is half dragon. As she's about to eat, she takes Hiroyuki, but Genzo tells her he isn't the food, but the fish. As she eats the fish in an instant, she sees all the animals, and Genzo explains he is trying to start a pet shop, which she thinks is a restaurant as the salamander looks quite delicious to her. He then explains what a pet shop is, and she asks what demon beast Hiroyuki is. Genzo says he is a mongrel, and Hanako asks if she could have it. She will love him and feed him, and as he gets big, she will eat him. Seeing her getting excited, Genzo quickly takes Hiroyuki back. Genzo then opens the book with the beasts and asks her to read about the half-dragons. She quickly closes the book and leaves, saying she has something to do. Shigure then returns and smells a dragon. She scolds Genzo that he must have brought a dragon even though they are basically broke. He tells her some half-dragon was there and he just gave her some food. Shigure then takes Genzo to see the guild master to discuss a new high-paying quest. A guild member says a demon beast attacks people at night. The man then shows his neck, revealing a bite and saying he is sure it is a dragon. Genzo and Shigure head to investigate the scene, and Shigure smells the same dragon she smelled at home. Genzo then gets back and takes his animal mask and heads into town using a cage and pet food to trap her. As soon as he sets the trap, she gets caught in it. He wants to ask her something, but at that moment villagers see them and call him a pervert as he is naked and puts on a mask. After escaping from the villagers, Carmilla comes telling him to get away from Hanako. But while she keeps talking, Genzo and Hanako start throwing rocks at her. She then jumps and attacks Genzo, but he ends up defeating her.
いつ俺の名は獣アマスク俺に敗北の2文字人をよこせ囲め
At their house, he takes off his mask and Hanako is surprised that the man is Genzo. Hanako then decides to tell him everything and starts saying her real name is Linda Bulia. Hanako explains she was from the Fafnir family. Learning that the Fafnir family is one of the 4 that served the Demon King, Shigure doesn't want to hear and know anything about Hanako. At that moment, Carmilla appears. She wonders where the masked person who defeated her is. But Hanako explains that they have nothing to do with this and she will return to the castle. Carmilla explains she needs to kill the humans as the information about the Fafnir family is top secret. Shigure then quickly gives Genzo holy water and tells her to use it against Carmilla. As he splashes it on her face, she falls to the ground in pain. Shigure then gives Genzo garlic to put in Carmilla's mouth. But then Hanako interrupts them, asking if they can forgive Carmilla, and explains she is her servant who just was trying to return her home. Genzo asks Hanako why she ran. Hanako explains she wants to taste better food. She then tells Genzo she decides to help with the pet shop as she could be close to Hiroyuki. Shigure tells her they still haven't started it, so they can't afford to hire someone, but Hanako explains she doesn't need money as long as she has where to stay and has food. Later, they learn that Carmilla is the one attacking the people. At that moment, Genzo goes behind her and goes for a German suplex, knocking her out. Meanwhile, at the castle, since the incident with the hero slammed her, Princess Altina has earned the nickname Princess Buttocks. She received news that the soldiers still can't find the hero. Shigure is annoyed, feeling she is the only one working, while Carmilla is sleeping, Hanako eating, and Genzo spending money on expensive food for the animals. Shigure goes to drink at the guild bar and complains that Genzo brought more mouths to feed. As she returns home, she sees Genzo giving food to a cat and asking it to stay and live with him forever. Miss Kobold comes and Genzo is all over her, telling her he wants to rub her. She tells him she is married with 20 kids. Claus then comes, asking if they have the payment for the loan. But Genzo tells him they don't have the money. As all doesn't want to work, Claus tells them in that case the loan is off. Hearing that, Genzo gets hyped and tells everyone to start working. Everyone starts working as hard as they can, but eventually all except Shigure fails. Shigure speaks with the guild master and he offers them to do the Griffin quest. Shigure shows the quest to Genzo and he instantly accepts it. While going for the Griffin, Genzo learns that they give birth to 2 chicks and make them fight and keep only the winner. Soon after that, they meet 2 Griffins and see 2 chicks fight. As one of them loses, Genzo rushes and takes the losing one, so 2 adult Griffins then start chasing them. Carmilla tries to fight but gets easily defeated, but Genzo cares more about the baby Griffin than Carmilla as she doesn't have a tail and animal ears and he refuses to rescue her. Shigure tells Genzo to return the chick, but Genzo refuses as he will take care of it and raise it at home. The 2 adult Griffins fly and surround them. Genzo and Hanako stay fighting them while Shigure leaves with the baby Griffin. As Genzo sees an opening, he jumps on the Griffin and starts rubbing his head, but soon after that is slammed into a rock and knocked out. Hanako then cannot control herself as she wants to taste the Griffin meat and goes on a bit one. But as she doesn't enjoy the taste, she grabs Carmilla and Genzo and runs away. At their house, Shigure is relieved that Hanako comes back with the others. As they didn't defeat the Griffin, they didn't get the reward. Soon the baby Griffin Kyoko grows big and Genzo is excited, while Shigure worries that it will be more money for food. Shigure goes to complain again at the bar, but is a bit happy as she has sold the legendary weapons she took from Heat Haze for a nice sum. Mayo then spends his days, feeling sad and depressed, refusing to fight anyone else except Animal Mask. In the meantime, Genzo is looking at a new animal he named Masao. He wants to stay at its side until it wakes up, afraid that it may feel sad when there is no one. Shigure forces him to go do some work, leaving Hiroyuki at the house. As they leave, Wolfgang and Misha are waiting for them to leave. Wolfgang plans they kidnap and sell Hiroyuki so that he can get revenge for what Genzo did to him. He starts explaining his plan. He wants to lure Hiroyuki with meat and Misha to grab him and they run. Genzo and the rest are on a quest, but cannot find the plant they were looking for. Genzo then says he has a bad feeling and wants to go back, but Shigure figures he is lying as he just isn't interested in the plant. At Edgar's place, Edgar comes back to see Misha and Wolfgang on the ground. He wonders what happened and Misha explains they went with the plan to kidnap Hiroyuki, but as they tricked it with the meat and he came, looking at it at a close distance, Wolfgang found Hiroyuki cute and started playing with him. Then Jigi came out and as Misha was faster, she managed to run, but Jig caught Wolfgang and did some things to him, which gave Wolfgang another trauma.
兄貴があのド変態やのちんまい獣を奪って。
何二人で買ってやって。
私もそう言ったんですが、兄。
よし来い。
In the forest, they hear a cry and Shigure realizes that it is the Dradur Dagola they are looking for. As she points in the direction of the cry, Genzo goes running excited that they are demon beasts. Soon after, he is disappointed that they are talking plants. Shigure tries to convince him they are cute. But Genzo isn't getting tricked. He says that the Dradur Dagola is not cute at all. Money cannot move him as he only fights for one thing, namely his love for animals. As they argue, they realize they no longer hear the Dradur Dagola's voices, and then see Hanako has eaten them all. When they return to the house, Jig tells them that Hiroyuki is almost kidnapped and draws a picture of Wolfgang and Misha. Genzo then storms to Edgar's place, saying he is willing to let them go since they are fluffy, but since they went after his partner, he won't forgive them and then beat Wolfgang. At the castle, Joanna has permission from the Demon King to summon a Demon King from another world to fight the hero that Altena had summoned. As she performs the summoning, Mao appears. She then introduces herself and wants him to help them defeat the hero that Altena had summoned. Rose shows him a poster of the hero and Mao starts laughing, saying he found where Animal Mask is hiding. Joanna is surprised that Mao knows him, but Mao tells her there is more between them than just knowing each other. Joanna comments that with her hatred and Mao's hatred, the power of the dark side will grow and this time she may crush her foe, Hanako. Joanna then recalls how she was training and was told she might win the next tournament, but at the tournament, she was easily defeated by Hanako. Joanna requested a rematch, but Hanako wanted to eat, so Joanna gave her lunch. After that, they fought again, but Joanna lost, again and again. After that, Joanna got obsessed with Hanako and started observing her to learn how she got such strength. Years later at a party, Hanako wasn't able to recognize who Joanna was. Joanna then talked about Carmilla and that she was a lesser vampire, telling Hanako she could get a better servant, planning to send an elder vampire that would find Hanako's weakness, but Hanako declined the offer. Joanna then wanted her to face Rose, and if she would win, Joanna would accept Carmilla, and Hanako quickly accepted, as she wanted to go to the party and eat. As they met later at a quiet place, Rose and Carmilla started fighting. Carmilla put up a good fight but ended up losing. She then started clinging to Rose's skirt and pulling her, saying that he couldn't lose, while Rose was trying to hold her skirt, embarrassed, telling her to let go. Hanako then asked for the fight to stop, and Joanna told her she would arrange her a new, better elder vampire as a servant. But Hanako told her she still wanted to use Carmilla. Joanna then asked for Hanako to get on her knees, and to her surprise, Hanako did. Feeling like this was her first win over Hanako, Joanna left. While they were going back, the cart stopped and Joanna and Rose went to see what was going on. They saw Hanako, who apologized for how useless Carmilla was, but she was trying to do everything for her. So she was thinking that Carmilla was someone precious to her and didn't want to lose her. Joanna thought that Hanako would want them to not reveal that Carmilla lost. But instead, Hanako took her clothes off and transformed into a dragon, challenging Joanna to a fight. While both Joanna and Rose were trembling in fear from what they were seeing, and Hanako ended up beating both. At present, Joanna says that Hanako had left her castle the moment the hero arrived, so she thinks that Hanako went after him to gain glory, and she wants to find and defeat the hero before her. Genzo tells Carmilla to get out of the soil and to work, but she wants to stay there more to fully recover. She thinks she was useful during the last quest, but Genzo tells her she just went and got eaten instantly. Genzo gives up and decides to bury Carmilla with more soil. Thank you so much for staying on this channel and watching our videos. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel so we can keep you up to date with our latest content. See you in the next video.